Hi everyone, we're going to continue our introduction to Roman society by looking at the structure and in particular the hierarchy and divisions within Roman society. So the questions to focus on when taking your notes are 1. What role did slaves and freedmen play? 2. Who were Roman citizens and how did they benefit from this? 3. What position did women have at Rome? 4. What were the differences between the patricians, equestrians and plebeians? And 5. What was the patron-client relationship? Roman society had a very hierarchical structure, as we can see in the pyramid, and within this there were a number of divisions: free versus enslaved, citizen versus non-citizen, male versus female, and patrician versus equestrian versus plebeian. Firstly, starting from the bottom with slaves and freedmen, in a time before modern machinery and technology, slaves played a crucial part in Rome's economy. All but the poorest families would own at least one slave, who would perform a range of tasks from cooking and cleaning and physical labour to things like childcare and education. Slaves could be and were commonly set free by their masters, and they would then become freedmen. They'd maintain a close link with their former masters, and although they'd have some limitations to their rights, their children would be considered full Roman citizens. The definition of a Roman citizen increased over time. So initially it was only those within the city of Rome itself, and then the neighbouring regions around Rome, and then all of Italy. Finally, under the Emperor Caracalla in AD 212, all free inhabitants of the Roman Empire were considered citizens. Benefits of citizenship included protection under law, including the right not to be punished or executed without a trial, free food, entertainment and baths provided by the state, and also the ability to vote, stand for political office and own property. Although women could be and were Roman citizens, they didn't enjoy the same freedom and rights as men. They couldn't vote or stand for political office, and there were limitations over what property they could own. The purpose of marriage was to produce legitimate heirs to inherit their father's estate, and this could only take place between two Roman citizens. Women were not allowed to have relationships with men who were not their husbands. Men did have some more freedom with this, but any children who were produced by relationships, for example with slaves, foreigners or extramarital affairs, were not able to inherit under Roman law. As we can see in this diagram, slaves and freedmen were at the bottom of Roman society, and the groups got smaller as they moved to the top. So freeborn Romans were divided into three classes. And we're going to start from the top, looking at patricians, then equestrians, then plebeians. Patricians were the upper class in society, and they got their name from the Latin word for father. They were traditionally seen as the elders of the state, and they had great wealth and political influence. Typically, they dominated the running of the republic, but they were only able to earn money through owning property and land. Typically, they would pursue careers as lawyers, politicians, and leaders in the army. The equestrians got their name from the Latin word for horse, as they were considered wealthy enough to own a horse and serve in the cavalry of the Roman army. This middle class developed later and was made up of wealthy businessmen. They would fill the roles which patricians could not take on, such as trade and civil service. Finally, the lowest class of freeborn Roman citizens was plebeians. They were the great mass in Roman society, but were largely excluded from power. The poorest were called the proletarii because all they could contribute to the state was proles, or children. So these were extremely poor, but at the other end of the scale, some plebeians would earn quite a respectable living through running small businesses or farms. They didn't have much power as individuals, but because there were a lot of them, it became increasingly important to keep them happy to preserve political stability. Finally, an important relationship underpinning Rome's social structure was that of patron and client. A citizen with greater wealth and influence would support those below him, offering handouts of food and money, legal assistance or employment, in return for the client appearing with him in public. Having a large number of clients gave a patron the appearance of increased status as well as political support, and these relationships often lasted over generations.